And the way you can make change, like real changes, you have to be, it sounds corny as shit, but you gotta look in the mirror and be able to confront your own shit before you start telling other people to take care of their shit.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up? What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like mental health, self-development, and just the struggles that we go through on a daily basis, in hopes that, kind of starting these conversations and kind of just sparking up this movement to end the stigma. Hopefully that kind of helps alleviate some of the stress that's happening, the suffering that's happening out there in silence. Today, I'm very blessed to be joined with Novette and Michelle, Nori Athletics. They've been on here once, twice. I think this is the third or fourth time that they're on here. I think it's third. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. But why don't you guys just tell people like kind of where you're at right now, what you guys have been up to, and where they could find you.
Yeah. So he's Novette. I'm Michelle. We're Nori Athletics. Nori Athletics is basically a personal training, online coaching service, and we help people develop healthy habits. You can find us on Instagram at Nori Athletics, or you can follow us personally, Novette Royal Chua and Michelle Petrovic.
Instagram and TikTok and Facebook.
Yeah, you guys are active everywhere, man.
Yeah, we're trying to, man. We're hustling. We're hustling. That's what we're doing.
And that's basically what we've been up to. Like, we know that right now it's super, super important that we're all maintaining our healthy habits, whether it's like going to the gym twice a week because that's what a person needs, or whether it's going 5 times a week because they have another goal. Whatever it is, like, we want to be there. We want to be the ones that are supporting these people develop those healthy habits that they need to reach those goals and maintain those goals after. So
You guys find like that, like just being a couple, like working together, like do you find that makes everything easier for you? Because a lot of the times, like I feel like just attacking like even just social media, for example, I'm like, man, it's difficult to cover all this ground at once, man. Do you guys find that makes it easier?
It's both. It's easy and it's hard. It's easy in a way where our lives are not separate. It's all in one. Like, the people that we hang out with are people that we do business with, the people that, like our relationship and our like business life. I mean, we should be separating it. Like, what I mean by separating is like separating the time for it. Like, so just because we're together and we're running a business doesn't mean we're actually spending time together. Right. So, and the cool thing about it is she knows what's going on in my life. I know what's going on in her life, versus someone that is running a business and someone that's doing another job. Like, that person that has a job will never understand how the person that's running a business, and vice versa. Right. So it's kind of separate. But in this way, it is hard because there are things that obviously annoys me of the things that she does, and there's things that I do that annoys her, and we just kind of have to figure out that puzzle. But once we do, it's like, okay, we figure it out, but then another problem comes in and then we have to figure that out. But then the cool thing is, like I'm saying right now, we're figuring it out together, right? Communicating. So it is like there's it's good and bad, but I would say it's mostly good.
Mostly good. Yeah. We get to like spread the business evenly with each other, and we're definitely that's a goal for this year, is like to figure out more of our roles, because right now we're just kind of doing everything together, and I'm like, well, there's things that he's good at, things that I'm good at, and we should use those strengths and really like hone in on those strengths, rather than like I do something that I'm not good at and he's doing that too. I'm just kind of like weighing him down. So that's what we want to figure out this coming year, because when you're working with 2 people, like, there's obviously strengths and weaknesses for each person. And it's so cool when you're working with a team or working with even just like a partner. It's like you get to balance that all out, as opposed to, like, you probably know, like when you're on your own, you're like having to like go through and dig up all these things that you have to like better yourself at, which is totally okay. Like, I 100%, like, even though I have these like weaknesses, like, I know I can still fix them and be even better. But when you're on your own, you're kind of having to like go through like bigger dips, I think. That's personally speaking. And then you're like having to like fix those things, as opposed to like, I don't have such a big dip because he can go and like fix it for me kind of
Like,
thing.
I'll give you an example. Like, she's really good at making graphics for like Instagram posts. Like, it'll take her like something that would take her 5 or 10 minutes would take me like an hour. And then so like, okay, let me just give you that job because you're really good at it. And yeah, you can deal with that. So it's just being more efficient, like finding these strengths, like she said.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's so cool because you guys, like you said, like you kind of know like where your head's at, you know, like kind of like when you're creating the graphics, then he probably know like what he's looking for, or like what's gonna irritate him about certain things. So like you can kind of like save time that way as well. Like that's dope. So then with like coming into the new year, like because we've got like a kind of restrictions coming in right now, so like it's definitely going to make in-person training a little bit more difficult, but then you guys obviously like the show must go on, like kind of the same thing we talked about last time, right? Like no matter what, we got to be able to kind of go out, get out there and make money and live our lives. So like do you guys have any like kind of challenges that you're facing right now that you're looking to overcome like right away in the new year early on?
The one thing we learned is to be very adaptive. Last time we were adaptive and we were able to switch things out. But we kind of waited. We're like, oh, it will only last like 2 weeks. Let's just wait it out. So this time we're not waiting. We're just acting right away. We know what we need to do. We have to like pivot, obviously a little bit. And we just have to be very straight with our clients that we currently have, be very like transparent with everything that is going on, and be very open and keep a conversation going, which we did last time too. And that's probably what kept our business afloat, to be honest. And we have a really good community, which I'm super thankful of. And they've always been supporting us through everything. And they're the kind of people that understand like that this is also our livelihood. Like, yes, we help them and everything, but we also have bills to pay as well. And they're there to support us and help us get through this as well, which I'm super thankful of. But waiting is not the answer. So acting, and it's always like everything is, you just have to act 10 times more basically, right? Like put in the action, put in like the work, because you will get something in return.
Yeah. And I think like one of the biggest blocks too is like, even with people that don't run businesses, like let's say for fitness, it's just that like, okay, this new mandate, like gyms are closed. A lot of people will freak out and they'll be like, oh, I don't have a gym anymore. That means there's no more hope and I can't do anything, versus like having a more solution mindset. Instead of being like, oh, I don't have a gym, how can I keep going without having equipment or with just my body? Well, in business, it's like, okay, we might not have in-person training. So what are our options? We can go online, we can push that. We can look at this as an opportunity, because there's a lot of people out there who are suffering and don't know what to do. So we can set an example and show them, and then potentially those people can become our clients because they're like, hey, this guy like has a solution for us, right? So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, instead of having being fixed on what we don't have a grateful mindset, because that's what's gonna give you the solutions.
Yeah, and like just for reference for anybody that's listening or anything like that, like it's December 22nd. It's going to be played on the 30th. So this is kind of like our New Year's edition, but we're in 2021. So we just got rolled out like a bunch of new mandates here in Vancouver. And so like one of them, even though like Walmarts and McDonald's and liquor stores and all these places are open, our government has deemed it essential to close down gyms here. And so that's kind of like what we're talking about, guys.
Yeah.
When the vet's saying is basically like, regardless of how you feel about like these whole lockdown things and the politics, if you follow me on Instagram, you know what my ideas are like, but like at the end of the day, you got to find a way to fucking live with this shit, right? And that's kind of like what Novette's talking about, is like what are you going to do? Like, you could just going to sit, like Michelle said, you like, are you going to just sit around and wait for things to get better and start getting fit? Or, you know, like Navette's alluding to right now, like, it's like, you got to take this into your own hands, man. So like, we were kind of chatting about this before we started recording. Like, what's sort of like a way that you're going to start to take that in your own hands, man?
Like me personally, like let's say,
yeah.
well, I've already thought about it in the shower this morning. I'm like, I got a pull-up bar. I got my body. I got a yoga mat. I got 10-pound dumbbells. So like, I haven't started making a program yet. I have started making program for my clients, but for myself, it's just like really simple stuff. Like trying to get into the mindset of like, what does exercise look like outside of the gym? Freaking going for runs, going for walks, going, what is that? Snowshoeing. Like we're gonna get snow. You can freaking go snowshoeing. You can, if you have a dog, walk your, like we're gonna be taking care of a dog, our friend's dog, for like a few, like almost 2 weeks, and the dog requires 45-minute walks twice a day. So I'm like, okay, all right, that's great. That's great. That's already exercise for me, right? And just like doing push-ups, doing sit-ups. Like really, it's not complicated. You're not gonna get the best results, obviously, but the mindset behind it is like staying consistent, keeping your mind intact, and so that when things do get better, when things start to open up, right, then you're ready for it. Versus like sitting back waiting for it, and then who knows how long this will last. Knock on wood, hopefully it is just till January. But if it does last a while, then when things open up, you're like back to square one again. Like it happened in 2020. Don't let it happen again for 2022, right? We've already went through it. We should have learned by now. And just being more proactive versus reactive. So like my whole mindset for this year is just like create momentum and stay consistent no matter what. Like this is a huge challenge. Like it's a huge mental and physical challenge. Like we have to look at it as okay, this is an opportunity to get stronger in my mind. Because right now, like I felt it yesterday. I'm like, holy fuck, like this is so heavy. Like what am I gonna do? Like what I felt like I was losing hope. I was getting back into that depressive state. Then I realized I'm like, holy shit, like this is kind of like benching 225 pounds. I can either like just let it fall in my chest, or I can get someone to help me and like, hey, can you spot me? And I just need to lift this up. And then later on, you just learn and learn and learn. And eventually you're freaking repping 225 pounds off your chest with that bench, right? So it's the same thing, but it's like, it's life, right? We just need to learn how to recognize them and use them to our benefit.
Yeah, like that was like I remember when the pandemic was like first starting off, like it was like late 2019, early 2020. I remember thinking to myself, like, as long as I got my gym membership, I'm good. I don't care what the fuck happens. Like, you know, they could take away, because I was working at a restaurant in the very beginning. So it's like my work got shut down pretty quick. And then I was like, as long as I got my gym, man, I'm good. And then that got shut down. And literally the week that it got shut down, I remember thinking to myself, like, I pretty much have to take this into my own hands. Like if I have like everything, you know, I thought like worst case scenario, I'm like, if this is going to be basically the world that I live in, where like things can just be taken like that, like I need to be able to just generate things by myself, like fitness, you know, money, no matter what it was, right? Like that was kind of like the way I was looking at my life. And so that was when I started doing like these at-home workouts, and I've been doing them since then. And I did go back to the gym for like a couple months in the middle, but even then I was like, dude, this is going to be taken away eventually. I might as well get in the habit.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I look at it. Like, and here we are now, right? It's just getting taken away again from a lot of people, right? So
yeah, I like what you said about like taking it in your own hands. Like at the end of the day, like we can't continue to rely on things to change outside us without us changing it, right? We have the power to change our lives to a certain extent, right? Like you can either be right now sitting at home watching TV, eating junk food, you know, because you're like loathing in the feeling of like, oh my gosh, it's closed again. Or you can just like get up, go buy like that same amount of money that you took to buy like that pizza or whatever, go and buy dumbbells, like literally. And then like start building up your little gym, or like even just doing body weight exercise. That's free. right? So like it's really about just keeping that strong mindset and knowing that like yes it's hard, of course it's hard, and like I have days too where I have like it's difficult for me to get to the gym, but like I know that when I do and when I just push through that like little like threshold, it's easier after, right? So I think everyone is like everyone has experienced it, like you said, in 2020, and we know how bad it can get. And the question is like, do you want to allow yourself to get that bad again? Because at the end of the day, it's in your control as to like how far you let it go, right? Like you can be proactive, like he said, and just like continue working out, continue just like, yeah, you might not get that shape that you wanted to get, but you can maintain, right? So, and at the end of the day, that's what's important, right? It's for your mental health too. It's like the routine of things. Like the reason COVID messed everything up for people is because there was no routine in place. Like people suddenly were home. People were like confused. Like, when am I waking up? When am I going to sleep? What am I doing? Right. So like maintaining that routine and like adding in a workout helps you maintain that routine. Like the moment you're working out, you're going to follow your nutrition more easily. The moment you're like working out, you're going to like wake up, you know, or go to sleep at a certain time because your body's asking for it. Right. So it's just, yeah, maintaining the routine will definitely help with your mental health too.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of it comes to like that even like the history of our fitness. Like we all kind of start off in like the bodybuilding realm of like, you know, it matters what my physique looks like is like the paramount, you know, thing that I'm chasing after is like what my physique looks like. And, you know, it's kind of inarguable. Like, you know, you do need a pretty big array of equipment for the most part to get like these massive like physiques that have, you know, small areas of your body that are, you know, highly accentuated. It's not like done by compound lifts, right? Like those are all specific movements. So like when for me, like one of the biggest struggles, I'm sure like maybe Navette, like or Michelle, like you might have dealt with this as well. Like it was like kind of the shift of, and you actually alluded to it, Navette. You said like you thought of fitness differently, like thought starting to think of like, well, why am I actually exercising? What is the purpose of my exercise? And
Yeah.
you know, Michelle, you hit it on the head already. You said like it's for mental health, right? Like that was the reason that at the end of the day, I wanted to stay consistent because, like you're saying, like it helps build momentum, it helps build structure in my life. But then it also helps give me like confidence and understand the concept of like going through the suffering gets you to the results. Like that's kind of one of the biggest benefits for me is just understanding that concept. It's just like, yeah, we're suffering now to get good results later. So that's kind of the reason I think exercise is so powerful for me. But that was one of the biggest shifts I had to go through as well, was kind of that like thinking of fitness differently, because I didn't have dumbbells or a bench when I first started. I had a pull-up bar. That's it. So I was doing like push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and I was going for jogs. And I had like just stopped smoking cigarettes. So like I was at a point where I ran for like 3-4 minutes and I was ready to throw up. Like my cardio was so bad. I was smoking like a pack a day. And then that was where I started at. It was like I would have to go for walks because I couldn't jog, or bike rides because I couldn't run. And then it's kind of built up from there. So that I like what you guys are saying, because it's like essentially the same way I think about it. Like it's just basically like start small, and like that was kind of what I wanted to, when I was joking about having this be like a New Year's episode. Like that's kind of like the tips I want to give to people. It's like those little things of like just think of, you know, why you're doing the things that you're wanting to do, or just to start small and just trying to get it going. Like, did you guys have to start small with any habits this year? Like kind of get into new habits for yourselves this year?
Oh yeah. Oh
Well, maybe you can share your story because that's pretty like
yeah. So
big.
like
And it happened more recently too.
yeah. So like about 2 months ago. So like I was kind of half-assing my habits, even with my business. And but it was slowly going down. Like I got to a point where like I don't know, I think it was just because I was watching too much news, too much negativity, and it got to my mind, right? And obviously our actions are based off our thoughts, and my thoughts were not good. So I was just like most of the time I'll do minimums, right? I'll train my clients in the morning, I'll come home, I'll eat breakfast, I'll do a little bit of social media, then I'll sit on the couch for like 3, 4, 5 hours watching shows, playing video games, and then just kept doing that for maybe about 3 months. And then I was sitting one day, and it was on a weekend, and it was a Sunday, and I was just chilling with her and her family. We were just playing board games. And usually I'd have a lot of fun just kicking her sister's ass in board games and video games. But it felt empty that day. I was like, how come, why can't I enjoy this? Like, why does it feel so empty? And then I would start having these thoughts, suicidal thoughts that I've never had before, where I'm like, if I were to be making food, if I'm chopping food, I'm like, what if I just slice my wrist right now? Or like, what would happen if I just like take this and just jam it up my throat? What would happen if I just jump out the window? Like, where would I go? And then that's when I recognized, where I'm like, holy shit, like something is wrong. Like something in my mind is wrong. And it was cold turkey. And it was that Sunday. And the next day I committed to like, okay, I'm going to wake up at like 5, work out, meditate, journal, what else? Journal, write my gratitudes. Did I say workout?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a workout. Yeah. It was okay. So the routine is like wake up. Oh, here's the routine. I keep telling this to people. I don't snooze. I never snooze. So that's like the biggest battle that I could win. Like once I'm able to do that, everything becomes easy. So don't snooze, drink water, and then I write down my goals, my reasons why for those goals, my affirmations, who I want to be, and then my gratitudes, and then I meditate, and then I take a cold shower. Cold shower is the other one, where it's like, especially now, right? Right. So here's the thing too, right? I tell this to all my clients. If you want to get rid of negativity and bad thoughts, go jump in the cold shower. You will never have bad thoughts in the cold, because you'll just be trying to survive. You just be like, no bad thoughts whatsoever, right? And you feel like the Energizer Bunny right after. You're like, woo! At some days, Michelle's like, "Are you okay? Why are you screaming in the shower?" Right? But anyways, that's my routine, and then I would go work out, right? And when I would work out, I wouldn't listen to music. I would actually listen to motivational videos, not because I'm trying to motivate myself, but it's that. But I'm also trying to replace all these negative thoughts with positive people like Joe Rogan, or like Les Brown, David Goggins, Jocko Willink, The Rock, right? I'll just like have them in my head. And once I start doing, after a week, like, holy crap, like I've been so much more productive. I've gained clients. I've gained like more money. I'm so much stronger. But the idea is just gaining momentum. And I wasn't doing anything crazy. Like my workouts were like, I'd start with 15 minutes of walking, and then I would turn down to jogging. I'm not even like lifting weights yet. And then when I started building up the courage to lift weights, I would only do like 3 sets of squats, and then that's it. And then the next day it'd probably be like 3 sets of deadlifts, and then that's it. And then that would build up to like the following, maybe after a few more weeks, squats and lunges. And then the next day is deadlifts and pull-ups. And then I would just build it up, right? Slowly but surely, right? But obviously there will be times where it's like, it's not a straight line. There will always be dips where I would go back to just doing squats again, or I would just like walk on the treadmill. But the whole idea is, yes, it's consistency. And yeah, ever since I started doing that, like I can't not do that anymore, because I've built this momentum. Like if I stop, if I press snooze, if I indulge too much in things, if I don't take cold showers, I feel like my day's not complete and it's gonna be ruined. Right. So yeah, ever since I just started doing that, I guess I've been more aware of myself and my thoughts. Like if I didn't do that, and hearing the news yesterday, I probably would have gone back to where I was. So I think it's really, I totally forgot where I was going with this, but the message is, what I want to say is like, yeah, like you said, like when you said that, oh, the gym is the only, as long as I have my gym membership, I'm good. But that's also something that they can take. So let's work like backwards. What about like your body? Right? It's like, oh shit, like, yeah, I have my body. Like, what if I can control that? As long as I have my body, I'm good. But I'm going to go into a dark place right now. There are people that lose their arms, lose their legs, right? And they're like, shit, what do I do? I would believe like those are like one of the most powerful people in the world, because like I forgot what that guy was. He has no arms, has no legs, but he's like living life right now. And so now it's like, what do you actually have? You have your mind for now, right? Because of all this bullshit that's happening. You have your mind. So if you can strengthen your mind, start from there, then you'll have everything. Like if you can control yourself, tell yourself like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym and actually do it, right? That's one of the hardest things people can do. Like that, like as basic as it sounds, if you can do that, then you can do anything, right? Like it's just getting yourself to do it. And that's the whole reason why I was doing it, because how will I be able to master myself? Like if I tell myself to do something, will I actually do it? So I just start doing all these small things. And then that's what for me is, that's what mental health means. Being able to trust and rely on yourself when you tell yourself to do something and actually do it. Because at the end of the day, we're always with ourselves. We're always with our thoughts. It's either we have bad thoughts that we tell ourselves like we're pieces of shit, so like we're good for nothings, or we can have that other person where they're cheering you on and they're making sure that they're like keeping you accountable, and they're like, great job for taking a 10-second cold shower, even if it's something as simple as that, right? Yeah, holy shit, I went to a spiel there. I didn't even expect that.
No, I like that, man. I like that because I think really similarly, and I think that we've had like kind of similar findings in terms of just like, because I remember being there as well, where I like was in a dark place in my head, and I didn't have a job at the time. I was just kind of living at home with my parents, and I was like really honestly just like a scrub. And I remember thinking like, why, I was depressed. I was having like similar thoughts to what you're saying. And that was kind of what happened with me, where I was like, yo, tomorrow I'm fucking waking up a different like way. Like, cause I don't like this life that I'm waking up in every single day. Like it fucking sucks. And I don't want to do this anymore. So I just, yeah, it started for me waking up early, like the whole not hitting snooze thing that like resonates with me, man. That's the exact same, like kind of how I talk with people. Like, it's like, that's your first battle of the day. So are you going to win, or are you going to lose that first battle? Because that pretty much sets the tone. And to be honest, anytime I feel myself slipping, whether it's like, and not just on my discipline, I mean, like when I'm slipping, like physically, like with my body, I'm getting a little bit soft and squishy when I'm, or even mentally, I'm getting soft and squishy. Like it all starts with like, okay, what's my morning routine look like? Like, am I hitting snooze? Am I just laying in bed? Am I kind of fucking off when I should be starting my job? Like, and so like, I definitely resonate with that. The cold showers, man, that's another breed.
Yeah.
Yo, that is another level, dude, because I'll tell you, man, I can do a cold plunge and like, I'll be unhappy about it, and I can muscle my way through it, right? But a cold shower, I think, is exponentially harder than a cold plunge, man. Like I've been saying this to a couple of people. I literally just did a cold plunge this morning.
Oh
So
shit.
like when you say cold shower, I'm like, bro, I know how hard the plunge was, and the fucking showers are 10 times worse, man.
But
But
you feel like a champ right after. Like
dude,
I
you're
know
a winner.
I only do 10 seconds, but my rule is I have to do the cold shower first before I turn on the warm shower. So I'm like, this is in my head, I'm like, this is another battle. If I win this, then I fucking win. That's just a win. Because like we're not in elementary school anymore. No one's gonna give us like participation medals, or no one's gonna give us first place, second place, third place. We have to give that to ourselves. We have to recognize our wins, and that will give us the confidence to keep doing other things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. I was gonna ask you though, because people have asked me this question, and I've got my own little explanation. But like, when have you had like maybe like someone that you share that story with, and they're like, but like, how does just being more disciplined kind of turn your life around like that? Like, have you had kind of maybe that question asked of you, or have you thought of that before? Because it's like, it is kind of, and to me, it makes perfect sense, and I can explain it no problem. But I'm wondering, like, if you've asked yourself that, like, what kind of was the catalyst? Because, to go from a place that is that sinister, that is that dark, like, it takes a big step, like, it takes something big. And just like a small change in habit or discipline, like, I feel like a lot of the times people don't understand how that can play such a big change in your life. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. No one has ever actually asked me that, and I know it's a big role in our lives. I guess the reason why I wanted it was because I think without it, I would only do things when I feel like it, and I would never get things done. And I wanted to get things done, and so it always goes back to like why I'm doing it. Like there's no reason to be disciplined if I don't know why. I think that's the reason why a few months ago, I was just sitting around doing nothing for hours because I don't know, like, what's the point of being disciplined, right? So it's like the reason why I do things is because I wanted to take care of my family. I wanted to be able to help people that were in the same situation I was, that are like mentally struggling, and help people build and learn how to have self-belief by building discipline. I guess that's your answer right there. Like, discipline gives you that self-belief. Like, you know how people say like, oh, you can do whatever you want, you just need to believe in yourself. But people don't know how to believe in themselves. They don't really know like the formula of how to do it. I'm not saying like what I'm doing is like the right formula, but it's what works for me. Like, building my discipline helped me believe in myself, right? It's like believing in yourself is really simple. It's like when you tell yourself to do something, you just do it. And then you'll go, oh, and then that person in your head goes, oh, he's actually doing what I said he was going to do. Okay, let's give him another test, or let's give him another task. Can you take a 10-second cold shower? And then you do it. And then your mind goes, holy shit, he's actually doing it. Like, I believe this guy's reliable, right? That's what I guess that's what discipline is for me, right? Like, I'm always talking to myself, right? And trying to convince that person in my head, like, hey, we're on the same side. We're not enemies. So like, I'm gonna be good from now on.
I think another thing that you mention a lot too, is the way you do one thing is the way you're going to do other things. Like, you say that quite often. So like, he does this to me because he's like, oh, you didn't clean up. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, if you don't do this, then this is how you treat your business. This is how you treat everything, right? If like you leave things undone at home, that means you're leaving things undone in the business. And the same goes with like, if you're half-assing your own self-care, like, how do you expect to be able to care for others? That means you're half-assing the care that you give to others, like whether it's your siblings or your parents or your kids or your friends, right? If you can't take care of yourself, you're probably not giving the attention and the care that those friends need as well, right? So that, and another thing too is, I find for myself, discipline is defined as in how well you play the game. Like, Grant Cardone mentions this, and life is a game. Like, you probably read that, right? And I find this 100% to be true. Like, the times that it's difficult, I always tell Navette, I'm like, it's just a game. Like, it's just a game. And we have to come up as like number one on the roster. And like, we get to pick and choose. Like, if you want to quit, like, we can quit, right? Like, we can let the game defeat us, or we can beat this game. And I am like, if I see it from that perspective, I get super stubborn, because I am like super competitive, like in video games and everything. Like, he can tell you that. And I'm like, nothing's gonna beat me. So then I just like, I keep going at it. And that's honestly like, because I've also been going through like a low, and I've been like getting out of it now. And that's what's been crossing my head like all the time. I'm like, it's just a game.
Yeah, whenever I beat her like 10 times in a row at a certain game, and I'm like, it's okay, babe, it's just a game. Like, we're still on the same team. She'll be like, don't touch me. Don't, like, not right now. Don't, like, no.
I have to beat you. I'm on a mission. So like, for me, life is a mission too, right? Like, I need to crush this. And yeah, some days are harder, but as long as we keep reminding ourselves that we have control over this, like, we move our peg around the board, like, it gets easier that way, for sure.
Yeah, no, I love that because you guys said so many things that I really like. The whole like idea that life is just a game, a play, like kind of something that you could just play with, like and it's just like kind of, well, what do you want to do? Because those are the things that you can do. There's a really good, I'm trying to remember, who he does it with, but there's this Jim Carrey interview. I can send you guys a link, and I'll link it in the description of this as well. But
Yeah.
it's so fucking good, man. And one of the last things he says is like, when you realize that life is like a game, like what do you want to do? Like how do you want to play it? I accidentally hit my video button. But you guys heard that whole thing?
Yes,
Yeah, we heard
All
that.
right, sweet.
Yeah.
But then the other thing I was thinking, like, I like that you're saying, like, Navette and Michelle, like, you both actually said this, like, it's like kind of like a self-belief system, because self-limiting beliefs, like, I feel like are like one of my biggest handicaps. And like, so I feel like when people don't have discipline, or even when I don't have discipline, like it comes from two things. Like it's either like, I don't believe I can do this, or like the other one is like, I don't believe I deserve this, or the people around me deserve this kind of thing. Like I remember like one of the biggest things that kind of I had to shift in my brain, like in terms of like cleaning my room or cleaning my kitchen or whatever it was like I had to keep reminding myself, like, I don't really deserve to live in mess. Like that's not really something that I deserve. That's not really something that my roommate deserves or my girlfriend deserves. Like it's not really, to just walk into a messy room by default, like that's not really fucking fair.
Yeah.
Little things like that where it's like,
Yeah.
the people around me don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. Like, why am I settling for this? Or why should they settle for this? Like, like little things like that. Like, I just didn't really feel like for a long time, like I deserved to be in like a good, clean room. Like I was just living in mess for a long time in my life. Right. Like, it was just like, I didn't really think that, it was obvious I had the ability to clean things. I just didn't really think that I deserved to live in a thing like that. Like deep down, like that's probably what it was. But I think like as well, like once you start to it compounds, like exactly like you're saying, like how you do anything is how you do everything. Right. Like, it just kind of, dude, it hits me hard right now. Cause there's like different things that I'm like slipping in life, and there's the other things that I'm doing really well at that I'm excited for, but I can see where like I can let it slip and how that translates into other areas of my life. Like it's so sick that you bring that up.
Yeah. Like you said, it compounds though, right? So like if you start doing one thing right and you do another thing right, more and more, there's more and more things that start to pile on that you're doing right. And I think the best perspective to have is to look at like, okay, who do you want to be? And then what is that person that you want to be? What is that person doing? What is like everything that they do from the moment that they get up? And are you doing those things? And then you like slowly tick things off, right? Like, okay, like they get up, they don't hit snooze, but I still hit snooze. Okay, then that's something I need to work on, right? Not like to like put yourself down, but to kind of gain perspective, like, okay, I can do it and I can reach that like level of happiness. I can reach that level of like, self-belief, like you mentioned too. I just have to do these things. And if you like commit to doing those things slowly and practice, and habits take time, right? And we have to understand that too. Like some days it's going to work, some days it's not, but as long as you keep trying, eventually they're going to stick, right? So, and then you're going to get closer and closer to that person that you visualize and that you align with.
Do you guys have like, because as I look back over 2021 and I'm kind of like moving into this next new year, excuse me, sorry. Like I'm kind of like reviewing my last year and kind of like looking at my habits over the last year. And I'm trying to like, I just basically want to eliminate the ones that were shitty and like kind of do the ones that were beneficial the most, and kind of reprogram kind of not my morning routine specifically, but just kind of in terms of just revamping my life. Like, do you guys have any tools you use for like kind of analyzing your last year?
Not recently. Yeah, before we just actually started recently tracking stuff. So like we track like client sessions, we track like their progress. But in terms of personal, because the way I don't think of I always think of gaining instead of eliminating. So when I think of gaining, it what do you call it? It automatically eliminates things. So I'll give you an example. Let's say in fitness, like instead of thinking of losing weight, think about gaining strength and muscle, because in return, if you focus on that, then you'll be like, okay, in order for me to get stronger, I need to build muscle. In order for me to build muscle, I need to like prioritize my protein, and I need to have good sleep. I need to drink water, and all those things contributes to losing body fat. And that's how I was actually able to reach my goal when I first started. I guess when it comes to like revamping from last year, I not really. I guess like right now, like we're really focused on the business, so we just kind of count like what do you call it? How much money we made and how much money we want to make the next year. But I guess in terms of fitness, I just track, and I look back sometimes. Um, I guess like the way I know what to totally sorry, I'm like losing myself here. I guess when I
get you.
yeah, when I do look back, all I want to know is if I'm progressing, right? Let's say like I lift 135 pounds for bench press last week. I want to know that I should be lifting 200 pounds like a few months later. And then I kind of reverse engineer from that. So in order for me to do this, I need to be eating this much. I need to be lifting this much. I need to do these accessories. I guess that's how I kind of revamp what I need to do. I always reverse engineer. I never go like from start to finish. I go from like finish to like back. If that answers the question.
Yeah, no, dude, 100%. Because what you're saying basically is like, because I was asking like more about like how you kind of just analyze your year, but what you're saying is like you're just looking at the results then.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, I just look at the results as a milestone. If it goes up, then I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
That's like the way that I love that, man. And that's like how I was like that for so long, dude. And I feel like that's such a good fucking way to do it. I've just been thinking about it a little bit differently recently, just because like when I started doing like my morning routines, for example, like I would just throw everything. Like I would just do everything. I'd be like, okay, I got to meditate, exercise, read, journal, call 3 people I love, and think of 7 things I was grateful for, walk my dog, pet my cat, have a shower, stretch. Like it was like everything, like, like, so after a while I was like, okay, I gotta basically like maximize on the things that are actually benefiting me. And maybe I could just like read before bed, or maybe I could do this, at this time of the day, or whatever it was. Like, so that's kind of the way I think about it, like in terms of like right now, just like kind of moving or shifting around my routine. But I like what you're saying is just like, well, I'm just going to look at the results that I'm getting. And then whatever I was fucking doing to get those results, I'm going to maximize on that.
Actually, now I understand your question better now. Now that you gave an example, I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. So like, I've been going through the same thing, and my clients they say the same thing, and they're like, I did that before. I just stopped doing it because it's just so time consuming, right? You have to go, like, when I first started doing morning routines in general, fucking take me an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this because like it's just too time consuming, right? So I like to ask myself questions. Like I think it was Tony Robbins that said that, like, the quality of your life depends on the quality of your questions. So like I started asking myself better questions, like how can I make this more efficient? Yeah, maximize it, but still get the same result or get better results, right? So my routine went from being went from being an hour and a half to 2 hours to now being I wouldn't really consider my workout as a morning routine. That's just I guess that's a requirement, I guess. But my morning routine can vary from around 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on how well I sleep. So if I sleep well, I can do my morning routine in 15 minutes. So I would write down goals, reasons why, affirmations, and gratitudes in about 2 minutes. Like I would even though I'm like just waking up, drink a glass of water, like what the fuck was it? What the fuck? I would write the same thing, right? Just so I can it's just so I can what do you call it? Not drill, but not stamp, but just keep it in my head. No matter in what state I am, I know what to write down. So like I write it down 2 minutes. Let's say if I don't have time to meditate for 5 minutes, my minimum is I take 10 deep breaths. So I sit down and I just like nothing, 10 deep breaths. I don't touch my phone, by the way. I just turn off the alarm. Don't touch my phone. Don't look at anything. And I take 10 deep breaths. What else? I read one page of any positive book. I'm reading this one right now. Empire by Elena Cardone.
Because, Empire.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that we do so we can stay on the same page. It's because she's reading it, so I got to read it so I know like how she thinks and she knows how I think, right? That's one of the best ways to like be on the same page with your partner. So I read one page. These are minimums. So like you just gotta ask yourself like what are your non-negotiables and what are your bare minimums. So my minimums is like writing like my journal, one page, 10 deep breaths, and 10-second cold shower. That can last for about like anywhere between 15 minutes to half an hour. So like once I do that, I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm good. If I go over half an hour, I would actually get pissed off. I would actually almost feel like I lost. Like fuck, like why did it take me that long? Is it because I think it's because it's because I didn't sleep enough. So then I have to work on my sleep, right? Whenever like I also always go back to like recovery. Like if you feel like you're doing all these things and you're drained and it's taking too long, maybe you need to recover more. Right. That answers your question better, right?
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, no, that does, man. That dude, and everything you're saying is like, man, I've been there because like I was like that 2.5 hour fucking routine every single morning. It got to the point, yeah, like I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm ready to walk out the door like 7:30. So it's like, come on, man. But
I think
yeah,
it's go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna keep rambling on about that. So whatever you saying is more important.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's what we spoke about in the previous podcast before too. It's like you have to be able to change it and tweak it according to what you're going through, right? So like sometimes certain goals or certain routines are going to serve you better at that time of your life. And then every year we're changing too. So the way I see like preparing for the new year, I think about like my routine in respect to like what I want to achieve that year, right? So it's different from what I wanted to achieve last year. I of course look at what I did achieve. I look at what I've accomplished, and then anything that I didn't accomplish, I dig deeper as to like why that happened, and then I still dig deeper to know whether I really want it. Because maybe the reason I didn't accomplish it is because I just put it on there because it was like kind of like that shiny object syndrome. Like maybe I wanted to achieve it because I saw other people achieving it. And then I go through and I revamp like my goals again. It could be the same ones that I had last year. Sometimes they repeat, right? Like whether it's just like maintaining my body physique right now, or like, like having a better sleep routine, whatever it is. And I like put all those in place. And then I just like, because I've experienced so many of those things already, like not much changes, and I just like make those little tweaks like you mentioned, right? Like whether it's like shortening the morning routine or like shortening my workouts, or maybe like making the workouts a little bit more longer, or like finding a program to follow. Like all those are little tweaks, and I think it's important to look at what worked in the past and what didn't work and base it off of that.
Yeah, like I keep coming back to like my routine, and I keep like kind of revisiting it all the time because I started to think like, okay, how much of this is essential? Like, what are the things that are essential? Like bare bones, like the things that I need to have. Well, like for me, it's definitely like exercise. I've got to have some sort of reflection, like journaling or meditation. I've got to have some sort of reading or like positive input into my brain because there's just too much negative shit out there. So like that's kind of where I'm at. Like currently, I've moved like my reading to before bed. I've read like my journaling happens pretty much around the same time as my reading. Typically, they surround each other. And then my exercise right now is like a little bit in the morning and then a little bit in the afternoon, to be honest. But yeah, for me, like it was just about like figuring out like why does each thing serve me, and then how do I maximize on that, like the fact that it's serving me. Like for me, exercise, like a big part of it is like for energy. Because like especially like this week, so right now it's Wednesday. This is going to be played next Thursday, but on Saturday, I quit caffeine. I like stopped no caffeine, cold turkey, dude. And like, yeah, that's why I'm a little bit lower energy today than typical. But normally, I was drinking like a pot and a half of coffee a day, like a pot of coffee, like
Oh my
six
gosh,
coffees. Yeah. I would make like a pot of coffee and then throw a bunch of that in a thermos for at work and then drink my coffees like all day. And I was just like pouring it out of a thermos, dude. And so I'm on day like I guess 4 of just no caffeine. And like, dude, if I wasn't exercising in the morning, like I'd be a zombie right now.
Yeah.
Even just like in the afternoon, like, dude, after this, I'm gonna want a nap, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna have to fucking work out. So that's what's keeping me going throughout my day. But I guess the point of what I'm saying is like figure out the benefits of like why you're doing those things and then figure out how you can maximize on those benefits. Like for me, like it was like maybe I need an extra workout if I'm not having caffeine, because that's going to give me the excitement, the adrenaline that I need to like kind of stay awake and be alert.
Yeah.
Why did you stop drinking caffeine, if you don't mind me asking?
I was drinking so goddamn much of it. And
Yeah.
I have like these two, there's a couple reasons. The first one is I figure like the reason I started drinking black coffee is because I wanted to stop drinking energy drinks. So I started drinking way more black coffee. And then it got to a point where it's like, dude, I'm drinking like 6 coffees a day. I'm pissing so much. And like, it's just like, there was days where like I forgot to drink water, like, cause I was just drinking coffee all day. And I was like, oh dude, I haven't had any water today. Like that's a problem. My body can't function off that. And yeah, I just didn't really like that. I was like, coffee had me by the balls. Like I couldn't have a good day without coffee.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't my own man. I was coffee's man, you know? So,
Yeah, that's right.
like
I don't
didn't
like that.
Yeah. So now it's just like, and someone was like, dude, you can't go cold turkey. So I was like, motherfucker, I'm going cold turkey. Like, so I think like, I don't know how long it takes to adjust. I have no idea. It definitely is real. The withdrawals are real. Like it sucks, but it's manageable for sure. I'm doing all right now. And it's like, I don't know if this is supposed to be the thick of it. I have no idea the science behind any of it. So maybe you guys know that, but I have no idea.
I was that's why I was asking you, because I don't know if you were doing it because like you felt like any symptoms or something, like a lot of fatigue or over fatigue. Because if you're experiencing like fatigue all the time, like you wake up and you're still tired, right? Or you're like cranky or moody, right? You're like, you feel like your hormones are kind of off whack. Like that could be from like your adrenals being fatigued. And in that case, there's supplements like adrenal support that you take when you're like, you get off caffeine and then you take that, and that's supposed to help you get better sleep. It's supposed to stabilize your hormones. It's supposed to repair your adrenals. So adrenals are glands, and they're responsible for your energy levels. They're responsible for how you wake up. They're responsible for how you even digest food and how it's used. So if your adrenals are fatigued when you're drinking caffeine, it could look like it doesn't even work, or it could give you like a really big rush and then like a big dip after. It could look like you work out and then all of a sudden you're just depleted completely, or you get lightheaded during a workout. Like all those things. So those are signs of your adrenals. It could look like you not being able to fall asleep. Stress also is like huge on your adrenals. So if you've been really, really stressed out and you're still working out, you're waking up early, all those things affect your adrenal glands, which also will affect your hormones and heart and your thyroid. So
what should I take for that? Because that's
adrenal support.
Some of those, adrenal support, man. That's like
I'll show you the ones
you
we
can
take.
grab it. And then another thing too that you're
not selling this shit, are you? Because I swear.
No, body energy. And then
the back of my car, bro. Meet me at the parking lot.
And then there's electrolytes. So I don't know if you saw, like we had an interview recently with NRC. But electrolytes are huge. And sometimes like you notice a huge difference by taking it. He takes it every morning now, electrolytes.
Oh yeah.
Like with his glass of water, he just mixes it in, and he says that it helps his workout. He gets a good pump. And these are all natural, like magnesium, potassium, sodium, like things that we need. And like just drinking water alone sometimes doesn't help you stay hydrated. Like you end up just peeing it out.
By the way, we're not sponsored by any of these products.
No, we're not.
Like, we don't make money off this.
I was just joking, man. I was just joking.
Just for the listeners, actually, like I was like, oh, vitamin C, like I don't need that. And then I'm like, you know what? Like I started doing more research and I realized that it had sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Like those are all good for your muscles to hydrate, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'll try it. And it didn't give me energy for my workout. It just made it was just fatiguing. Yeah. Not even that. Like it was just my muscles were contracting better. I felt hydrated. Everything was much smoother, especially like during the winter time. Like, you wake up, you're like achy and everything's cold. Sometimes your muscles are stiff, right? It's like it's hard to move. So that helped me move my muscles better. So it's kind of like when you start your car, let it heat up for like 15 minutes before you start driving. It's kind of like that. But if you like start driving right away and your car is still frozen, over time, it's gonna break.
Yeah, I feel you, man. And like, yeah, it's funny that like when you're talking about like adrenals being like fatigued, like, dude, I feel that because like I don't really have issues with like
That's the one.
Dope.
Is it backwards? I don't know if it's backwards.
No, that looks normal. I can read that perfectly.
So it's Adrenal Pro.
They're from like Canada.
Yeah, so you can just get this from like Body Energy Club. It's like,
because like I don't have trouble falling asleep. It's the opposite, dude. I could sleep anywhere, man. Like I slept in the back of a truck yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I could sleep like anywhere, dude. Like I could sleep, dude. Yeah, without any problem, dude. Like I literally, it's like I couldn't watch a movie without falling asleep. Like that's where I'm at. Like, and I'm like somebody where like when it's go time, it's go time. Like if you want to go for a run right now, I'd go for a run. It's go time when it's go time. But if I sit down at all, like even just sitting this long, I'm like, man, I'm feeling tired, dude. Like, just sitting down, once my body stops moving, it's like, yo, it's bedtime, man. That's it.
Yeah,
dude, that's the same for me. Like, and that's why I don't like going to church, because like I would sit there, like growing up, like every time I would go to church, like my glasses would be different, like almost every 2 years. I remember I had these thick glasses. And my parents will never be able to see me sleeping. I'll just be like, but they would see this. I'd just be like, and then they would hit me like, "What are you doing? Why are you sleeping in church?" Like, I can't. Like, if I sit down for this long, I'll just fall asleep. I can't do it.
That's me, man. And like just finding different like things because that was the other thing is like, I really only was drinking black coffee and water. So now it's like, now I'm just drinking water. So yesterday I was like, okay, I should start drinking like aminos and electrolytes again. So I started drinking those. But it's like having that thing in the morning, man. Like I've switched to like herbal teas that are caffeine free, but like having like something to drink in the morning, like that hot cup of coffee, man. Like I was like, fuck, dude, like, and I'm trying not to even have decaf. Like I just want to have like literally no coffee. Like, because I feel like if I go decaf coffee, that's like kind of being a bitch about it. Like I'm kind of like I want to just no coffee. Like I just want water and I guess, amino acids and like electrolytes, like that kind of, but
it gets easier.
Sorry?
It gets easier.
Yeah. Because I'm doing like intermittent fasting right now as well. So I'm not eating till like noonish. Like I scarfed down my food like right before we jumped on this call. But like I like, so just all morning, because I wake up still at like 4:35ish. So it's like all morning until noon, all I have is water. Like it's just like, man, I want my coffee back. Like I'm waiting for it to get better, man. I'm excited for it to get better. By the time this is out, it'll probably be better a week from now.
Yes.
From now.
Yeah, I can't do that, bro. Like that, my one rule is like I can only have one cup of coffee, and then that's it. And that's in the morning. That's in the morning or before my workout. Like I wouldn't, if I wake up, I won't drink coffee. I'm gonna save it for just right before my workout. But my workouts, they're not usually, well, today's actually gonna be late because I had like morning client. And then, but I'm probably not gonna drink coffee today. But I would never drink past like 2 or 3 for my coffee. Yeah, but only one cup a day.
You're a savage, bro. I was so bad. It was like at the point, so like my wake up would be like 4:30. I go for a run, and then by the time I get back, my coffee's done being made, right? Like it's just like a pot of coffee. So I get back from my run, have like my first coffee as I like check my emails and kind of like after I've showered and just gotten ready for work, I just like sit down and edit my podcast, check my emails, do my computer shit. I have like a coffee then. I'll have a coffee on the way to work. I'll have a coffee at work. And then I have my thermos and I'll fill up my coffee at work. So I have like 6-7 coffees a day sometimes. Like it was so bad, man. And like it would be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be getting home from work and I'd be like about to start a workout. And I'm like, literally all I've had is 6 coffees today and food. Like I haven't had any water yet because the only thing I've been drinking is coffee. Like my body's gonna be so dehydrated. And I think that's what it was for a long time, is like just being dehydrated all the time. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm drinking shit all day, but I'm dehydrated.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably it. Like that's the same with me. I'm so bad with water. I had to set like alarms every 2 hours that would go off and to remind me to drink water. But at least it helps, right? It helps me like drink water.
Dude, yeah, I've been living with this mason jar of water for like the last couple of days. I just keep filling it up. I drink maybe like 3 of these minimum a day. And I'm just powering through it, man. That's it. I just know it'll get better. That's the thing is, I know it will get better, but right now it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Every time we talk to you, you're always doing some sort of challenge.
Yeah,
I think this is
you're doing 75 hard.
Now it's like no coffee. That's my challenge. No coffee.
But that's the cool thing about challenges, right? I feel like it is important to have that aspect in your life. And like some of us, we get so used to not having like anything in life. And I can't, like for us, like right now, my business is my challenge. But I was just telling him, like, I can't imagine if I didn't have this business, I would probably find something else to challenge myself with. Like, that's the kind of person I am. Like, that's how you add excitement into your life. Like, we need challenges in life in order for life to be exciting. And we can create them. Like, you're creating one for yourself right now, right? And it does get easier because like I had to also get off coffee. Like the reason I know so much about like the adrenals and stuff is because I like after prep, my adrenals were completely fried. Anytime I had one coffee, I was just like, woo, I'm gonna pass out, basically. Like my heart was like like crazy. But I had no energy, but my heart was just like pounding out of my chest. So I actually took 3 months off of coffee, like no decaf, nothing, like also just like cold turkey. And it was hard at first, but I knew I was doing it for a good reason. And then after like the first 2 weeks, it was just like, it was a habit, right? And like, I just like took that out and I replaced it with water and I was okay. Now I'm back to 1 coffee a day, sometimes 2, max 2, but that's it.
You know what's funny? Someone's watching this right now and going like, no, I can never give up coffee. I don't care what you tell me. I will never, like, I'm not listening.
Dude, that was me 2 weeks ago.
It's like, no, I need my 1 pot of coffee a day. This counts as a cup, right? 1 cup of coffee a day.
Minimum.
That's dope, man.
And it's funny too how like we got to it at different ways, because it's like yours was like a sensitivity to coffee. I got to the point where I was just like, coffee was water. It just made me diuretic. That was it. Like it was just water. I didn't have like a huge skip in heart rate or anything like that. Like and that was one of the things like I've been a little bit more conscientious about, is like I want to check like my like resting heart rate more often, and I have a pretty healthy resting heart rate. Like I sit around like low 50s. So it's like,
wow, that is
because I run every day, so it's like,
yeah.
my heart's happy that way. But I was like, there's no way this can be good for my guts to be drinking this much coffee. Like I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, maybe I'm doing all right because I'm compensating with cardio. Like I'm taking care of my heart. But like, what about my liver and my stomach, man? Like it's so acidic. Like that was what I kept thinking about, was the acidicness. Like I was like, I think I'm probably doing some sort of harm to my guts, man. Like this can't be good.
Yeah, it actually spikes your insulin levels up too, but there's no sugar for the insulin to break down, so the insulin just kind of stays up. So coffee in an empty stomach is like a no. And I always tell him, I'm like, this is how people
That's the first 5 hours of my day.
I know.
Yeah.
6 hours of my day.
She gives me shit every time I drink coffee. I'll be drinking a cup of coffee. She's like, did you eat anything? And I'm like, no.
Because it causes insulin resistance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
These
it's
are things
just...
with trainers, man.
Dude, that's something I actually had no idea. I didn't know that it impacts your insulin levels.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, except there's no sugar in coffee, so insulin going up, it's going up for no reason, and it stays up there, and that's why it's not good. And that's why like people get those like big dips and big crashes of energy. It's your insulin.
Yo, I'm gonna fact check you on this because that's crazy, dude. I didn't think that it impacted, because that's, if you were to ask me earlier, like how come I'm not drinking aminos in the morning? That's why I'm not drinking like amino acids or any electrolytes or anything like that. Like it's just water in the morning now, not coffee, because and people are like, oh, those things don't spike your aminos or your insulin because there's no sugar, but like those sweeteners will spike your sugar, man, or your insulin, even if there's no sugar. I believe, in my humble opinion, I think amino acids and those things will do an insulin spike as well. But I didn't think coffee would. That's nuts.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, because I was researching it because of my hormones, and I was trying to like balance out my hormones. And then one of the first things that affect your hormones are your insulin levels. And then that's like that's where I got into like that coffee and the insulin and stuff. So much science out there. Like literally it's honestly, it's like a rabbit hole, right? Like you can keep digging into things, but these are things that aren't brought to us by doctors. It's like things you have to find yourself. And I think a lot of it comes from experience too, because the reason I'm finding all this is because I'm solving my own problems. But it's cool because then I can later like share it with like people like you. So,
and it all starts with not pressing the snooze button. So if you're watching this, do not press the snooze button.
Yeah, dude, that's so sick. Man, like now that you said that, that was literally like pivotal in terms of like my philosophy around coffee in the morning now. Like, because especially with fasting, the fact that it's an insulin spike, like whether that's true or not, even if you're wrong and that's like completely not true, I'm gonna think of that from now on. So I like that. That's so sick. And that makes it so much easier for me, because it's so easy not to drink like, or like have a little fucking Hershey's Kiss in the morning, or like a little piece of chocolate, like, because I'm like, oh, that's the insulin spike that's going to fuck me in a couple hours.
Yeah.
So now that I think of it that way, dude, I'm so thankful for that. That's my biggest,
it's good that
takeaway.
Good that you're fact checking stuff, because like, especially people that are watching this, like, don't just listen to people, just like actually like listen to what they're saying and then do your own research and look for yourself. Because right now, like especially with what's going on, like people hear the news and they're like, oh my god, this is happening because of what I heard. This guy said this guy said that, but they don't actually look into themselves, look for themselves, right? So yeah, fact check.
I'm mostly just saying this because like I believe you. I truly do believe you, but I just gotta say this because like I'm a carpenter, man. I build homes. Like I don't fucking know. Someone could listen to this. And like it's not even just you guys. Like I've just got a lot of people that know a lot of things that I don't know about. So I'm gonna believe you. But yeah, I just don't want people to be like, well, actually 17 episodes ago, Michelle said that. It's like,
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
I know,
So
right?
it's like but yeah, I do believe you. Don't worry. I don't think Michelle needs to be fact checked, but if you feel like you should, fucking fact check her. But
I believe her, but at the same time, I don't want to, because I still want my cup of coffee right after morning.
I fucking If you don't believe in Michelle, man, you don't believe in science, dude. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Dr. fucking Michelle.
Michelle's the government in this household.
No, but the government's wrong. So I mean, what?
Nah, dude, I love that, man. But how are you guys doing with that? Because I should ask, actually, you guys aren't time constrained. You have to get back to work. You have to go.
Yeah, you have a client 2, right? Yeah, we got about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, I was gonna say, because like one of the things that I'm struggling with right now, and I've spoken about this on a couple different episodes, but one of the things that I'm struggling with right now is kind of like the division in society. And I know that like maybe you and I and like the three of us, like we kind of see and really honestly, we haven't even had that discussion. So I could assume that we've got similar views, and I assume that we do.
Yeah.
But like, at the end of the day, we see eye to eye. Like we could probably agree on 99% of things.
Yes.
And I think that, it's so difficult right now because regardless of what side you stand on, if you believe there's two sides, or like where your views align, like I just feel like it's so difficult right now to kind of connect with other people or be empathetic or sympathetic, because I just, like, at this point, I'm getting impatient, I'm getting frustrated. That's honestly how I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm getting mad that it's impacting the people's lives that I'm seeing it impact. And it's like, kind of like, I know I can deal with this emotionally, but it kind of makes me mad when I see other people get really upset. And I'm getting a little bit more like divided. And I just, like, I think that, we've had laughs, we've had some good times in this chat, but I think that if we were to leave somebody with like something with some serious value going into the next year, it's like, what can we do, guys? Like, I want to know like your thoughts on like how we can deal with this division. Because
I think that division is apparent. Like, there obviously is like two sides. But as much as I want to be emotional about it at times and be like super angry and have someone to blame, at the end of the day, it's in our control, and it's still, we allow it to happen to a certain extent, right? So you have to take the blame for it, basically, and kind of put it in your own hands. And then you start to feel better, because as long as you keep blaming others for it, it's going to be hard, right? Another thing, though, to remember is that they want to divide us, whether it's the government or whoever you want to put it up there, but they want to divide us, because that's how the population gets weaker, right? And I always remind myself, like, this is not going to serve us if we're like all separated. We're just weaker. We're like more easily convinced of like other things, where they're putting us against each other. Like, that's what they want, right? So I don't want to allow that to happen. And I will always try and reason with someone. If they have like a complete different opinion, if they can't reason with me, then I just look the other way and I let them do their own thing. And I will continue to be around the people that are like-minded, like yourself, and support those people and let them know and let that be apparent that we are there. And I think that's the best way to go about this from personal experience. And that's how I feel. That's what I believe. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
I think like at this point, there's so many people that want to be right on both sides. Right? I think that's the main reason why we're butting heads, why we're not uniting, is because no, I'm right. No, I'm right. Like, we're always trying to be right. And so like for me, if I'm always trying to be right, then I'm never gonna be in common ground with someone. So I have to be able to see myself in their shoes, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. What are you going through? And if I can do that, then I can create common grounds. Like, okay, this person's doing this because they're feeling this way, right? And if you can communicate that with them, then they'll feel understood, as if like, oh wow, so this person's actually listening to me, and they're not just like pushing their opinions on me. So that helps them open up to you, and then you can start like, I don't know, giving your explanation on your side, and they can understand where you're coming from because you're understanding them, right? There's a lot of like back and forth going on, but we all need to understand, again, whether you're on vaccinated or vaccinated, like we have to understand.
Whether you support the mandate.
Yeah, whether you support. Yeah, we're all in this together, and there is one common enemy, and we need to realize who that one common enemy is. Whenever like, if there's like me and her, when we fight, right? We always know that it's not
between us directly, that there's some influence from the outside.
Yeah, it's either, it could be something that we've seen from the news, or like it's either something that our parents told us, or one of our clients said something, or someone said something off the street, and we just start bickering about it. We know it's like there's always a third party involved, and In this case, we are being divided. We're in two sides, but we should actually unite and figure out who that third party is, whether you know it, not know it, or you want to admit it or not. Like, I think this is the way we can unite. It's just like understanding each other and figuring it out together.
Yeah, no, I feel that 100%. I think like a lot of the time that, because like when you're like, say like with your partner, like say like when you're arguing with your partner, like there's kind of like at the point, like I can only really speak from my own experience, but like it's like you get to a point where you're just kind of thinking about it and it's like, this is just fucking pissing me off so much. And at the end of the day, like I know what my solution is that I am looking for, the outcome that I'm looking for. And I know that that's probably pretty similar to like my partner. Like we just want to not argue. Like that's like the kind of the outcome we're looking for is to just continue being happy. Like that's like kind of what we're looking for. But like, I just feel like right now in society, like sometimes it feels like maybe we don't have a common outcome that we're looking towards, or maybe we do have a common outcome, but just maybe people are having a tough time seeing it. Like, I feel like a lot of the times we're just stuck kind of like figuring out like what's causing the problem, like what's doing that, when really it's like, okay, well, what's the outcome we're looking for, guys? Like, what can we really like? Because for me, like the way I look at it, and I think we've already said this, maybe I already said it, but it's like, you know, at the end of the day, like we just need to fucking find a way to get back to like what is like a real life, like as soon as possible, because you know, things like this don't go away. Even if like this pandemic goes away, like there's going to be another one. Like things like this just don't go away. That's what I mean. Is like so yeah, like for a long time it was kind of like an us versus them kind of thing. Now I'm just seeing it as like it's like a us versus us, man. Like that's the way I'm looking at it at this point, because like you're right. Like I think that the division thing, like they want us to be divided.
Yeah.
And even amongst people that like quote unquote agree, there's division. You know, like there's people that are like anti-mandate, but they'll wear a mask. And then there's other people that are like, oh, but if you support the mask, then you support everything. And like, you know, like even people that like will say they agree, you know, quote unquote agree, they're like still bickering at each other. There's still division. Like I think that it's just so natural to gravitate towards that division, man. So I like what you guys are saying. It fucking hits home for me, that's for sure.
It is. It's so easy to be mad at each other, right? It's so easy to point out the wrongs in someone else. Like even think in like a relationship, like how many times can you just easily get mad at someone like because they didn't do something or they did something wrong, right? But you kind of have to like bite your tongue and realize that not every conversation is worth having.
Yeah.
Some conversations are. And like you mentioned too, right? It's like knowing that we have to have a common ground and realizing that at the end of the day, I feel like we all want things just to go back to like our form of normal, right? Like close to as normal as possible. And to some people on one side, it might look like, hey, we need to follow the rules. Like maybe that's going to speed things up. To other people, it's like, hey, no, we got to like wake up and like not follow these rules because these rules are not bringing us any closer. So just like realizing that, yeah, we have the same outcome and like having more of a conversation of like the outcome, right? Not about like so much of like all this negative stuff that's happening in between, and realizing, yeah, we're not the enemies to each other. There's like someone else above us that's like making us get separated between each other. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think that's a beautiful place to wrap it up as well. If you got to get jetting as well for your client, we don't want to take away from business. So I got to say, like, I thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. You guys know I got mad love, mad support for you guys. Nori Athletics, thank you so much. Michelle and Yvette, if you guys are just listening to this, you need to go and check them out as well. They're present literally fucking everywhere, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, fucking TikTok, every single platform these guys are on. I'll link every single page you guys have in the description as well. So if people are just like watching the YouTube video, this will be down below. If you listen to the podcast, it'll be in the description. But that's beautiful, man. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening, for those of you that are out there listening to this. But yeah, if you guys want to tell people one more time where they can find you, and then just leave them with a little peace out, that's all up to you. I'm passing the mic over to you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, thank you for having us. And for those of you that are listening, Mark is as real as he'll get. Like this guy's a fucking G.
Yeah.
Right? If you need help creating momentum in your life, go to this guy's page. He has some knowledge to like share with you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just thankful. Like we just remember it's a game. I think that's the best thing I want to leave it at. And that's the best thing that served me so far. It's a game. Let's continue playing this game. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Keep striving to win. And we can win.
And the way you can make change, like real changes, you have to be, it sounds corny as shit, but you gotta look in the mirror and be able to confront your own shit before you start telling other people to take care of their shit.
That's fucking beautiful. That's probably the clip that's going on Instagram right there. I fucking love that. Thank you so much, guys. Much love and peace out, everybody.
Thanks,
Later.